Welcome to the Meno Lounge. I'm Julie Gordon White, CEO of MenoWell, Menopause Energy and Protein Bars. And before I bring up our favorite guests, always our favorite guest, Barbara Sobel, our clinical nutritionist, to talk about blood, cravings, crashes, all the things, and some hacks, I want to just tell you, we're practicing something. I'm going to let you in on a little on the inside of MenoWell here, is that we've been practicing a little bit more just-in-time production. So ordering from our manufacturer, a production facility, like this many bars for about this much time. And we're not exactly getting it right. So that's just some real talk behind the scenes. So if you notice that we are pretty much very close to out of stock on peanut butter, but you can get it on Amazon, but not on our site. That means we sent more to Amazon than we had in our own fulfillment center, and now we're getting low on chocolate. It's constant. We're still figuring it out. But that's the journey, and it's exciting because at least you love them. That's why you keep buying them, and we love them. We keep eating them. So anyway, I just wanted to share, if you're like, what the heck is going on with MenoWell? I can get my peanut butter here, but not there. The chocolate says, hurry, buy it now. It's almost sold out. That's what's happening. So hurry, buy it now. Almost sold out. The life of an entrepreneur. Okay, this is a good topic. People are hopping on. Barb, I know you're here somewhere. I want to bring you up. Let's see. This is something that we talk about a lot in the back of the scenes, of MenoWell, and that is the impact of our blood sugar on our mood and cravings and weight gain and all of these things. So let's see, Barb, are you here? Here you go.
Oh, wait, hang on. I can't hear you. Hold on. Uh-oh. I can't hear you.
Why didn't you tell me in the comments this whole time you couldn't hear me? Can you hear me, Barb? No?
Okay.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, now I can hear
Okay.
you. Yeah.
You guys didn't tell me in the comments that you couldn't hear me. It's because, you know, when you have headphones on and then you take them off and then you keep them too close to your phone, they hijack. So pretty much I was just talking this whole time about our just-in-time production of mineral bars. It's not exactly, we're still figuring it out, which is why by now they're almost sold out and blah, blah, blah. So you're just going to have
Yeah.
to read my lips from the first part of that.
Read my lips.
Read my lips. And if you can guess what I said, put it in the comments. I'll send you some bars.
Well, here we are, finally. It feels like a Monday, even though it's
I
Tuesday.
know. I'm kind of thrown off. First of all, you know, I'm in this business school program at UC Berkeley. What was I thinking? It's like doubled down on the workload here, but it's amazing. But it's also given like all these extra tasks, meetings, workshops on my schedule.
Yeah.
My calendar's so thrown off because of Memorial Day, and then I am going to a wedding because it's wedding season. I don't
Right.
know. How is your calendar? Is that just my world I'm extrapolating to everyone, or
No,
what's happening, Barb?
just there's a lot going
It's
on.
that
I saw
time.
something recently that said like May, December, but they combined the two words. That's what I feel like.
Ah, that
Busy.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Between Mother's Day all the way through with
Graduation
graduations and
and
Father's Day and wedding
summer.
start,
Yeah,
summer.
summer.
Oh
Even though I don't have kids in school
no,
anymore, it's still
but
summer,
my
right?
nephew's graduation
Right.
just
Yeah.
popped up yesterday. Like, cancel everything. Rocky's graduating. You know,
Exactly.
middle school. Otherwise, I would have
Yeah.
known. Right. So.
Yeah. Exactly. Of course.
Right.
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 Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anywho,
So
all right.
yeah.
So I need to balance my blood sugar, and I'm guessing some women here need to balance their blood sugar
Yeah.
because there I have too many things, and I eat my MenoWell bar every day, but I know I need to do more. So
Right. So food super important with blood sugar, and we'll talk about that, but stress, lack of sleep, all the bad habits that come along when we're stressed, like not exercising our regular things and trying to squish more in and all that can contribute to blood sugar dysregulation, especially in midlife.
Especially
We're a little,
in midlife, because we
yeah,
have all those things on repeat, triple down on all those disruptors, if you will.
right. And we're more sensitive to disruption,
Mm,
right? Like we just tend to react a little bit more. So,
thank you, estrogen, or lack of.
yeah, or yeah,
Okay, Barb, let's like shoots and ladders all the way back down. Oh, there's my little cowboy hat back there
I
that I
see
have.
it. Yeah.
That my kids gave me for my birthday because they say I look like that emoji, you know, the emoji you can make, and the one with the cowboy.
I love that it's purple. It
That
matches the
purple.
colors.
It's a theme.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's a
I
theme.
digress. So, Barb, let's go all the way back. What is blood sugar? Let's just start there because we toss these terms around all the time, but not everybody understands or really understands the implications of understanding our blood sugar.
Right.
Go ahead.
So, okay, it's a great question. So when we eat something, the food that we eat makes our blood sugar go up. So there's some glucose in it, particularly in carbohydrates. And it's very
Sugar,
normal, right? Sugar,
sugar.
but even in, healthy things like even in raspberries or that are
Yeah.
very low glycemic, it's going to raise our blood sugar up a little bit. And what happens is that gives us energy, and our bodies secrete insulin to pull that blood sugar into our cells so that we have energy. And when we get low on that energy, we feel it. We often get tired. We might get a headache. Some people get like cranky or hangry. We all know those people. We might have had it ourselves, right?
Right.
But that's when you might get a little dizzy. You might get just low energy, not thinking clearly. Your mood might suffer. You feel like I got to eat something because I need that energy. And so we go through these normal curves all day long. And everything's great, as long as we sort of stay in rolling curves with this stuff. It's when we hit super highs and super lows
Mm-hmm.
that's when we start to get a lot of symptoms.
Got it.
And if we start getting big jumps and big peaks in our blood sugar um, over and over again, that raises our our chances of getting like prediabetes, diabetes, and other metabolic
Got it.
diseases, fatty liver,
Mm.
things like that.
Okay, you
Um,
brought in another word, so I have to metabolic. We
yeah,
hear that word and I think we automatically think about weight and metabolism, but it's
right.
it's much bigger than that.
It's
So
much
can
bigger
you?
than that. Yeah, I usually
Mhm.
think about how like the bigger version. How does our metabolism work? So how do we break down our food and use it in our bodies, right? And we usually talk about it in terms of uh, blood sugar, hemoglobin A1C, insulin, diabetes. These are all things that we might talk about in terms of sometimes even cardiovascular disease in terms of metabolic health. Yeah,
Okay, so really important. So we've got blood sugar happening here. We've got the impact on our metabolic health happening.
right.
So how do we know? Because we know we need blood sugar, but how do we know if we have too much? We talked about that, I guess, the feelings that you may have.
Right.
So should we just trust that? And then how do we measure it if we wanted to be more
Yeah.
specific?
So we can pay attention to our body, which I think is great. And that's the first place, because if we feel something is off, we should go check into it. But but blood sugar can be very subtle, and we don't always know when it's out of balance.
Mm,
So when you go to the doctor and you do your basic blood work, they're going to test your fasting glucose at first. You don't eat in the morning, you go get your fasting blood test, you're going to see. That's going to give you an idea for right then in that minute
mm,
what's happening with your glucose. And that may be what happens, overnight. It might be that you fasted till, I don't know, maybe you didn't get to the doctor till 11 o'clock, so your fast was much longer. But that's just that moment in time. If we look at hemoglobin A1C, which is a very common marker that gets tested, that's 3 months of blood sugar.
Mm.
So we can see we might be okay at that fasting thing first in the moment, but we may not be okay the rest of the day. We might be getting too many
Mm.
peaks during the rest of the day, or be too high. So that's a good marker. Fasting insulin is a good marker. There's all sorts of other blood tests we can do, but it's not very convenient to go get a blood test done, right?
And you would
At the doctor's office.
probably want to get multiple over time to have a more accurate reading, or an
Right,
average. An
right,
average,
right.
be the business person. I think about a balance sheet,
Yeah,
a profit and loss statement you can see over
over
time.
time.
Balance sheet is a,
Right,
like, on
right,
this day we have this much inventory and this much cash.
right, right.
Okay, so you
And
want to look
so
over
many things
time.
can influence our blood sugar that going in and doing a lab test delays what that average is. You can't see an actual
Oh,
day, right?
true, right,
So,
because you go in on that day, then you get your results later on, and things could
right.
happen
And then
in between.
hemoglobin A1C looks at 3 months. So even if you fixed everything and optimized it for 4 days, that gets thrown in too long of an average to really change it.
Mm,
So,
makes
you
sense.
really need a few weeks to see that start to move. There are other tests like you can do a glucose intolerance test where you drink that really sweet
Like
drink
when
and you
we were
sit there and
pregnant
you
and you
keep
have to
getting
do that.
tested. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's not optimal. We used to just do the finger pricks, right? And you could do that at any time. A lot of diabetic people do that, but I think it kind of hurts, and you have to, wipe it off and do it and measure it, and you have to interrupt your day a little bit to do it. Um, but it is very accurate. But now there are continuous glucose monitors, which is a wearable device. Most people put it on the back of their arm, and it connects with an app in your phone, and you can just look at it and see what your glucose reading is. It doesn't measure your blood glucose, but the glucose that's going around in the fluid between your cells. And so you can see what it is, and it's a good proxy. You can see any time of day. You can also see overnight, which is really important because a lot of people, especially women in midlife, wake up in the middle of the night and they can't fall back to sleep. There are lots of reasons why that can happen. One of them is our blood sugar drops too much.
Yeah.
And if our blood sugar drops, that's something we can work on, right?
Mhm. That's really important because, we talk about that a lot um, in the menopause discussion, because of maybe a hot flash or night sweats
Right,
or whatever's happening. But we don't really talk about, because we don't want to eat before you go to bed, because then you're digesting and you're not fasting
right.
and blah, blah, blah. But depending on if you stopped eating, let's say you were doing some type of eating window, and you stop eating at 5 o'clock maybe, or 6 o'clock, or even seven, and then 3 a.m., let's do the math, what is that, 8 hours later,
Yeah,
if you don't stop eating at 7 p.m., 8 hours later is 3 a.m., you could be waking up just because your blood sugar drops, right?
exactly. And that causes a stress response in your body. You don't wake up feeling hungry, but your body is like, I need food. My blood sugar has gone down too low. So it wakes you up. And we
That's
don't feel hungry, but we can't fall back to
that's
sleep.
That's an
But
important nuance, though, because that's why we don't wake up and go, "Oh, I'm
yeah,
hungry. I have to go eat something," and then I can go back to sleep. We just feel bad
yeah,
for all the reasons. Why did I wake up? I don't feel good. I'm tired.
right,
When the underlying reason just could be that the body needs more fuel, needs a
right.
little bit more blood sugar.
And
Mm.
so then we would experiment with a little snack before we went to bed and see how you do. And then we might need to look at what are we really eating during the day? Are you getting enough food? Do we need to up our protein during the day a little
And then
bit
the
more?
right macros too, right?
Exactly.
Because we can eat a
Yeah,
lot of food that is not nutrient dense, and
right,
then they're hungry.
right. Exactly. Exactly. So we can, if we can identify that, that's a source of not sleeping, we can actually do something about.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, yep, that's I don't really eat late because I don't
Yeah,
want to eat late. I want to have the benefits of the
right,
cleansing, part that happens when you're just letting your body digest and cleanse itself, and the cells and all the things that they do. And but those days that I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm postmenopausal and I'm on hormone therapy, it could just be that I needed to have a little something before I went
right,
to bed.
right. And for some people, they don't that happens regularly. Sometimes it just happens occasionally. If you had a day where you didn't eat as much, or you did a much longer exercise or more intense or whatever. So it's something to, if we have that information, it's helpful. And
Yeah,
then we can make adjustments and, very individualized. I mean, I like to recommend that you fast overnight so that your body does get to do repair and
right.
rest.
Like
But
12 hours though, right?
yeah, yeah, 12 hours. But sometimes it might not be, that doesn't mean it's right for everyone all the time.
Mm.
And then sometimes we can really change what you're eating during the day so that your body gets used to that and can go longer. That's the other thing.
That's exactly where I was. What you said made me think. So that last meal, if you will, how important is it that we have certain macronutrients?
Really important.
Okay,
Really
let's talk
important.
about
Right.
that.
Yeah. So protein is long lasting, right? Um, Fiber, because you want it to stay in your system a lot. And you also don't want what you're eating. You want to slow down what you're eating so that you digest it more slowly and your blood sugar doesn't peak. Carbohydrates often, complex carbohydrates, so things with fiber, often help people sleep, especially if they haven't had a lot of them during the day. But sometimes you can have too much, right? We've
Right.
all gone somewhere and gotten like a Buddha bowl, and the ratio of
Yeah.
rice to vegetables and protein way off. Plus, there's a sauce that's kind of sweet in there. And of course, tastes delicious, but it might not be the best ratio. So sometimes having those complex carbohydrates, but in maybe having a smaller serving size
Mhm.
might be the ticket. Yeah.
Really smart. There's a place that we go and we get a like a teriyaki
Yeah.
bowl. So now and I love in the container. I don't want to dirty up a dish, so just eat that. But then I dumped it out and saw how much rice was there
I know.
compared to the meat and vegetables, and it doesn't feel like it in the container. So this harkens back to our conversation about really measuring or weighing food to really, or just really having an up close look at what you're eating, because you don't always know. And so now I only eat half of the rice and
Yeah.
I don't know sauce because of that
Right.
sweet sauce.
Yeah.
Man, I miss that sauce, but it's,
Yeah, the sauces can be really sneaky,
yeah,
because they don't always taste sweet. Sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't. But they can have all sorts of hidden sugars in them,
yeah.
you know?
And sugar is not horrible, but let's just get it from a better source, right?
Right.
Fruit that has fiber
Yeah.
that goes over with it. What
Right.
are other good sources of glucose
Right.
or fructose?
So, I mean, fruit for sure. The like things like berries are going to be lower glycemic. Things like tropical fruits, banana, pineapple, mango, papaya are going to have a little bit more, little higher glycemic. So some people who are very sensitive might see that their blood sugar reacts a little bit more. So maybe they need to eat a little bit less of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Still, you can still have it, but you just might need to balance it a little bit more. Whole grains, beans, and legumes are good sources of those complex carbohydrates.
And let's not forget our favorite sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes, yeah. But I'll tell you something interesting with sweet potatoes. From wearing a continuous glucose monitor, I'm pretty reactive when I eat sweet potatoes,
Interesting.
and I can actually handle a bigger serving of regular potatoes than I can of sweet potatoes. So I have to be a little um careful. I still have them. I love them, but I just am, more cognizant of the serving size
Yeah,
because I know what's going to happen.
that's interesting because that's why. trying out a continuous glucose monitor, which you can get over the counter
Yeah.
now. Thank goodness. Before you had to get it from a doctor, but now anyone can get one. When you think you're eating something, well, we know a sweet potato is very healthy choice, very
Yeah.
nutrient dense choice. It's got all the, another color to add of the rainbow to
Exactly.
what all the
And
green
very
stuff.
delicious,
It's all got
right?
all
Yeah.
the things,
Yeah.
right? But you never know what your body needs, how your individual body is going to react. So
Right.
a continuous glucose monitor is so cool for that. But Barb, I'm not giving up my sweet potatoes. I love putting a small one in the air fryer after dinner. Now, the thing that will make my blood glucose go up is if I put a little brown sugar on it. Now I'm
Yeah.
in trouble, right?
Yeah.
But
Put
cinnamon,
cinnamon on
because you
it.
told
Like
me
try
cinnamon.
cinnamon. Yeah. Cinnamon is great for that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
to
And
help keep
sometimes,
that down.
I just need to look at the rest of my meal too. Like maybe I want to have more sweet potatoes and I don't want to have like a fruit dessert or something, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Or,
balancing, and that's where just thinking a little bit ahead of what I want this meal to look like, to
right.
making sure you're getting at least this much protein. And I just say it's so, because women tell me all the time it's so hard to get my protein in, and it's only hard because we think it's hard. So the easiest way is if you're eating this much
Yeah.
chicken, turkey, beef, whatever,
Fish,
fish,
whatever. Yeah.
eat this much. So I'd say,
Right.
like, take your thumb and then go all the way around. Because if I say eat two of those, they're like, too much. Okay, so just this much of a portion. And now you've added maybe 20, 25% more protein in the meal you're eating. So you don't have to
Exactly.
add another meal.
Right.
Let's just keep it simple.
Exactly.
And so we make
Exactly.
sure we have that, an added amount of protein in that meal. Some complex, simple carbs, but not too much. Not
Yeah.
too much.
Complex carbs, not
Complex.
simple
Oh,
carbs.
sorry. Complex. I said
Yeah.
complex, simple. Complex,
Yeah.
not simple. Carbs, and then veggies.
And
Yum.
veggies, fill
Crunch.
up on your veggies.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then add some healthy
Fiber.
fat, right?
Healthy fats.
Yeah.
Although, again, if depending on what your goals are, if you
Right.
are on a body reshaping journey, that's my new term, Barb. What do you think
Yeah.
about that?
I like that. I like
Not
that.
everybody wants to recomp.
Right.
I
Yeah.
do. But and weight loss is not it. That's scale weight. That's so like 2002. No.
Yeah.
And
Maybe.
fat loss, it's hard to know unless we're measuring it with InBody, DEXA, which we all highly recommend anyway. So I'm playing with that.
Yeah. No, I like that. I
Reshaping
like
our
that. And
bodies.
fat, we've talked about this before. Fat has a lot more calories per gram, right, than carbohydrates or protein, but we still need them.
Right.
But that's where measuring comes in. It's a perfect place to measure because it's so easy to go over
Yeah. I
in
love that.
the
If you
fat.
are resistant to measuring food, measure your fats.
Yeah.
That's because it's so sneaky, right?
So,
Olive
so
oil
sneaky.
on your
Yeah.
salad, glug, 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 300 calories. What?
Right, right. And then glug, 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 because you put it in the bottom of the pan, and right, then you put a little butter in your rice or whatever, and it adds up to a lot of calories, but it's not volume that fills you up. So,
Right. And it's not that we don't want that. Olive oil is amazing. It's just
right,
knowing, what your body needs, what your goals are. Are you wanting to eat at more of a calorie deficit, or are you just wanting to up level the nutrients in your diet? Know what your goals
right,
are, and that way you can move accordingly. But
exactly.
I tell you what, the more protein you eat, the more full you are, and your body the shape will change.
Yeah.
It will change. That protein, it just leaves no room for other things. It's
Well,
so
it's very
metabolic.
satiating, right?
Yes,
Very satiating. Yeah.
very.
Yeah.
And fiber, because fiber is protein's BFF. The more protein we're eating, you need that fiber to move it through. I'm going to start using the poop emoji, not the pope. Oops. My mom would kill me. Did you say pope instead of poop? Oh my God. Sorry, Mom.
Hope
Sorry,
she's not
Pope.
listening. Yeah.
Um, we've been talking a lot about the Pope in our family because the Pope is from Louisiana and that's where our family is from. So we think we're related to the Pope now, but
Yes.
that's a different
Different
episode.
conversation.
But
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Pope is like, wow, right here on the tip. Okay, so poop emoji. You know, I use a lot of purple heart emojis. I'm going to start throwing the poop in there because fiber is so important. And that's, you know, that's now. I used to eat MenoWell bars. I created them for my sugar cravings. They're so well balanced with macronutrients, but I go to them now for my fiber, which is kind of
Yeah.
funny because I don't always want to eat a gigantic salad. Sometimes just a little bit of vegetables, broccoli. I'm always eating a large amount of protein, but I need to get that fiber in. So
I
let's
mean, and
not forget.
fiber is so important. It fills you up. It slows down your glucose metabolism, but it also feeds your gut microbiome, which is really the center of your immune system. And we're learning more and more how important gut health is, and fiber is what that bacteria
Yes,
eats. So it's really, really important.
totally.
Yeah.
Do you think it's sexy? Do you think fiber is sexy, Barb?
I do. I actually think it's really interesting because we don't digest it, but our gut microbiome, the bacteria does. I mean, it's fascinating.
So the gut thinks it's sexy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so if I use
Exactly.
a heart emoji, a poop emoji, and something that's like a wink, then you know I'm saying fiber is sexy. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
You know, let's make it fun because gut health, you know, handling our cravings, handling crashes, waking up in the middle of the night does not feel fun.
Right.
But
Yeah.
discovering our bodies, what's inside, what our body's like, even though we think our mind's like one thing, but the body's like, yeah, actually, I don't really
Yeah.
like sweet potatoes that much.
Right. I mean, we have babies know what's going on in their bodies. Somewhere along the line, we stop listening as well.
Hmm.
And it can be really tricky because we think we know what we're supposed to do. And sometimes our bodies are telling us a different message.
Yeah.
So it's,
That's interesting. Yeah, if
we have to
babies don't like it, if their bodies don't like it, they return it to you
exactly.
one way or
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
with a face, with blah, blah, or whoop right out the other side. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
So
interesting.
when they're tired, they go to sleep.
And
When
or they,
if
or
they
they
need to run
cry, or
around in a circle, they run around in a circle, right? But so we have to kind of relearn to really listen to those subtle symptoms so we can understand what our body's saying. And there's so much information out there. Do this, do that. And sometimes it doesn't work for us.
right.
We have to know our body. And sometimes we just need to recalibrate a little bit. We've talked sometime before about sometimes when people are just starting out, putting more fiber in their diet, it can be a lot, and it can upset their digestion a little bit. And ultimately, it can be great, but sometimes we have to go a little slower, um, or just introduce it in a kind of different way so that our bodies can handle it.
Really smart. Really smart. I'm glad you said that because sometimes, you know, we do get those comments. Whoa, I ate a bar and it can't,
Yeah.
it returned itself in a way I didn't want it to. Yeah, okay, just eat half. We have to work
Yeah.
our way into when we change our habits, whether that is how we eat or exercising or less wine or being kinder to ourselves, whatever it is, we can take baby
Yeah.
steps. It's okay. We don't have to go cold turkey hardcore right out of the gate unless that's your personality. But
Right.
for most of
Right.
us, baby steps because we want it to stick. We want this to be a lifetime practice. And that's why I love using the word practice. It's like yoga. We just keep working at it and then we just get better and better. But we have to be
Exactly.
kind to ourselves in the
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And for most of us, especially with blood sugar, small changes make a really big difference.
That's
And it's that
awesome.
series of just learnings and small changes. And it doesn't mean we have to give everything up. There's lots of lifestyle things that can help balance our blood sugar, like moving after we eat.
Yeah.
So I have an ice cream shop in my town, and I kind of have an unwritten rule that I'll go there if I walk.
Yes. I love
It's
that. And
delicious,
it's not
but
like it's not punitive, like you have to earn it. It's not like that,
no,
right?
it's more like I will enjoy it because I'll feel good. If
Mm-hmm.
I walk there, sit down, I enjoy my ice cream, and then I walk back, usually with someone. So I'm having conversation. And then it's not such a big, my muscles are taking up some of that glucose post
Yeah,
ice cream. And it's not doing crazy things with my blood sugar.
I love it. I'm glad you brought up that. Walking is also a hack
Yeah.
of managing blood sugar,
Yeah.
just movement, right? Right
Movement.
after
Yeah.
dinner, walk around your block,
After
walk to get
lunch,
ice
after
cream,
breakfast,
after lunch,
anything. Yeah.
everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Walk, even doing like some quick calisthenics or, um, I have stairs in my house, run the laundry upstairs, run down the stairs to get the mail, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be a workout. No
No,
one wants to work out right after they eat,
no.
but moving around makes a big
Yes,
difference.
that counts. I think
Yeah.
that's the extra hack. That's
Yeah.
the extra bonus tip.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Really good, Barb. I know you actually, for people who want to take this to a deeper level, you have a continuous glucose monitor, blood sugar management, how to do all the things. What's it really called, class? What's it called? Course. What's it called?
It's called from what is it called?
What's it
It's
called?
I know. I called it
Barb.
something kind of interesting this time. I made a new name for it. It's called From Spikes to Stability. And
Oh,
yeah, using a CGM to manage your blood sugar. And it's an online course. You can find it on my website, barbsobel.com, or on my Instagram profile. It's a self-paced course, and for the next 4 weeks, I'm going to be doing some live office hours as a special bonus, answering questions
oh boy.
and talking through individual experiences with people, answering questions. So it's really an opportunity. I started hearing from a lot of my clients, they were interested in CGMs and how they worked, or they had bought one and they didn't really know how to use it. And
Right.
so I wanted to give some just very basic information, but also some specific
Yeah.
experiments that people could try on their
Mm,
own and see what happened and then make changes from there.
really good. I have audited Barb's class, and plus I get to talk to Barb about this all the
Yeah.
time. So highly, highly recommend it. It's the window we have into our bodies without doing something
Yeah.
invasive. So
Yeah.
why not take
I
a
mean,
look?
I think it's super fun. It's taught me so much about just one of the things that's really been impactful for me is if I don't get a good night's sleep, my blood sugar is just 5 to 10 points higher,
Mm,
just my baseline.
mm-hmm,
And so it's not even all about what you eat. It's really about your whole lifestyle.
mm,
And I think that's really important. It's really helped me dial down on my sleep a lot because that seemed like something that I was just working against
yeah.
myself. Yeah.
I love that. That's another bonus here. So yes, it's what you eat and it's our lifestyle. All the
Yes.
more reason to go check out Barb's course
It's
from stable
from
to sparky. Sparky.
spikes to stability. Spikes to stability. Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
Sparky, Barb.
It's
Okay.
okay. It's sparky.
Get sparkier.
Exactly.
Okay, teasing, but go to
Yeah.
barbsobelnutrition.com. Did I make that up?
It's Barbara Sobel Nutrition.
Barbara Sobel Nutrition.
On
There you go. Or
Instagram.
just go
Yeah.
on her Instagram
Yeah.
right
So,
here,
yeah.
and
Yeah. Oh,
grab
my
it like,
website is barbsobel.com.
okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Too many
I
different
think our
URLs.
blood sugar is low from this
Exactly. It's
conversation.
lunchtime.
Okay, that's it. I'm
I
happy.
need a bar.
Okay, everybody. Thank you for being here. I hope you got something really good out of this. Now I'm chewing while I'm talking. I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
That's okay.
Be well.
That's okay.
Keep your blood sugar balanced.
Keep your blood sugar balanced.
Your
You
blood
will
sugar.
feel better. Yeah.
There you go.
All
All right,
right. Good
everybody.
to
Thank you,
talk to
Barb.
you.
You're the best.
Bye.
Bye.